Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to be talking about the Algorand network, and we're going to be starting the video off by discussing a big change that is coming to this network and its community. And then we're going to be updating you as a follow-on from our previous video on the price of Algorand, because we spoke about how markets move. You know, markets move in this kind of a four-phase manner. They move in a kind of cycle. And we spoke about where we suspected Algorand to be. And actually, there's a pivotal event that has just taken place with the current price that Algorand is at, because it's now signaled what we're expecting to take place, actually taking place. And there is also a technical pattern in the form of a double bottom that we're going to be looking at, that we touched on slightly, but we're going to be showing you lots of examples of markets in the same place that Algorand is today, that have the same pattern that Algorand does today, going and putting in higher prices and achieving those targets. So strap yourselves in. To start the video off, as promised, I want to start things off with something monumental coming to Algorand, and this is something I'm personally going to be taking part in, and it does have ramifications for the price, because this is going to increase demand for algo, in my opinion, and that is that staking rewards are coming to Algorand. Now, previously, the only way I've ever got rewards from Algorand staking is through taking part in its governance. It's a very interesting concept, incentivizing people to take part in a governance, because it does certainly do that, but it can also incentivize, I think, lack of a true vote, because a lot of people just take part just to get the reward. So I don't know if it's the perfect option. It was actually Derek Yu that I spoke to of Moonbeam that sort of, because I said, actually, it's quite an interesting idea, and he'd sort of said, okay, well, there are some issues with it, and Nirvana isn't for this world, so there's issues with many systems out there. But now they are going to open up staking rewards, largely as a sort of promotion towards the community for everyone, and they're also going to enable stake pools. Now, somebody like myself has experience running stake pools for other blockchains, and we're going to be doing the same thing for Algorand. And we're also, and do stay tuned for this, as one of the largest content creators, somebody that gets the most viewed content on the topic of Algorand, we're also going to be creating a community, a kind of council, if you will, to leverage our stake and thoughts as a community, and we'll create discords and things around it to essentially help guide the protocol in whatever manner we think it should go in. And of course, in doing that, help secure it, decentralize it, etc., etc. So we've got lots of interesting things coming up, but I think this has big ramifications for the network, because it makes Algorand an overall more attractive asset as its yield bearing. Certainly as we're entering the realms of institutional involvement, you know, they're going to want things that pay them a dividend, essentially. And on top of that, you're going to get people that are going to want to offer stake pools or staking services to claim the rewards and fees for doing so, which Algorand are actually likely going to subsidize to begin with, or incentivize to begin with, kind of bootstrap. And I think it's about 30,000 Algorand that you need to sort of start. And I know that's today around about 7-8 grand for me here in the UK. So it's probably about the same in dollars. There's not that much between the dollar and the pound anymore, a little bit more. So this is interesting. This is something that's coming. It's going to launch early next month. So there's likely quite a run going into this. We will be entirely covering Algorand's price. We're going to just start things off by recapping on the last price prediction that we gave as it related to phase analysis, what we like to teach. Become a Patreon, guys, if you're not already. And we will help you sail the seas that markets are. But you can see markets move typically in 4 phases. We gave you a couple of examples of this in the case of the New York Times, which also had a double bottom that Algorand has, and that target was met, and HubSpot. So the last video that we did, don't even like our own videos, guys, what's going on? We really outlined how I like to look at the markets in this kind of 4-phase view. It's an extension of what Wyckoff wrote about with accumulation and distribution. There was a markup and markdown to this. You know, the Wall Street cheat sheet just maps out in terms of emotions, and Charles Dow also spoke about it, but we like to break it into 4 phases, and we very much said Algorand is in phase 1, and there's phase 2, which is the uptrend to follow. Now, this broadly aligns with what we've been looking at for the space as a whole. We've got lots of technical targets on the total crypto market cap, the crypto ETPs, of course, Bitcoin, that all sees it go significantly higher, and ultimately Algorand's going to be a part of that, potentially a large one and an ever increasingly larger one, as its potential and utility gets realized, and we move away from very much just hype, what the sort of crypto gatekeepers that called all these coins Dino coins can pump and dump to people, to actually now usage and utility. So we did look at that. We like to teach markets move in 4 phases. We showed you 5 or 6 examples. We have a link to the full video in the description. Of course, we looked at HubSpot, which is just a great example of the 4 phases of a market playing out, and we said Algorand is essentially here. And remember, this was somewhat of a double bottom as well. It was a bit more of an inverse head and shoulders, and the target for this actually did get met. Algorand doing a very similar thing down in this kind of low phase 1. And we showed you New York Times, which was in phase 1 here. During this base, it broke out, it retested, and then you saw continuation. In a very kind of breakout into phase 2 manner, you usually get a break and then a retest, double retest, just like what the likes of Bitcoin, let's find it, did for us when we were predicting it all back here. So Algorand is essentially in what we would identify as phase 1, and we can add further confluence to that in the probabilities of us being right that phase 2 is to follow, and we're actually on the cusp of it now, with the fact that we have a double bottom in here. Now, we did look at, okay, potentially it might turn into a bit of an inverse head and shoulders, with this just being one big complex heady double bottom. If there's some sort of a right shoulder that forms, that's going to give you a similar target, and our target was just shy of $1. And we gave this when it was just sub 20 cents, and today it's nearly 30 cents, so that's a 50% increase, and there's a lot more to come for this. And of course, since that video, Algorand has gone on and actually interacted with what we're looking at as a neckline on real increased volume. So things are looking spectacular. Fundamentally, we looked at something pretty huge that's coming. And this double bottom pattern is a very reliable one, as I'm now going to show you with 4 or 5 examples. So the first one I have for you is definitely a company most of you might not have heard of, and that's Alchemy Technology. You can see this double bottom. This, of course, is your sort of central point. Left butt cheek, right butt cheek, projection, projection, target, met. Also, pattern forming at what is very identifiable as a phase 1. Samsara, left butt cheek, right butt cheek, projection, target, met. Also, very evidently in phase 1. Total cryptocurrency market cap. Left butt cheek, right butt cheek. Nice sort of rounded right butt cheek. Algorand a bit more so. You know, this is sort of what we're looking at. Ultimately, also again, phase 1 with phase 2 to come for it. So what we're doing is we're looking at this smaller pattern or more immediate pattern to sort of give us confluence in regards to the market cycles and the direction and route that we're on, being the correct one for Algorand. The next one I have for you is Google. See this basing, double bottom fashion. Again, in phase 1. Breakout into phase 2. Target met, continuation. Then, of course, we've got Amazon. Now, we've got big targets for Amazon. This is phase 1. You can see double bottom here. This is, of course, phase 1 also. And actually, this has gone on and made its target. Is actually now in a bigger target, which we're hoping we can project for Algorand as we move forwards. So I just wanted to do a bit of an update. I wanted to, because we've not previously spoken about the staking rewards, mention them. And also just reiterate why it is from a price point of view, we're very excited. Remember, we believe the market's moving 4 phases. We think Algorand largely is in phase 1, and that ultimately you've got phase 2 ahead of you, and taking you into phase 2 is a double bottom target that has a huge degree of success for me personally in regards to playing out. I'm a traditional technical analyst. I like traditional patterns. Really all you're doing is you're looking and identifying patterns that have played out in a similar manner 8 times out of 10. That's increasing the probabilities of being right. We can also add further confluence to that in understanding how markets move, what phase you're in, and what phase typically follows that phase, and really increase our probabilities of being right on what's next for the price action of Algorand. Keep it simple. I can't stand people promoting all these like silver bullet technical patterns or indicators or signals or whatever. It's all nonsense. If it worked, they'd all be millionaires. I'm certainly on my way to becoming that through using these exact methods, and I've got a community of people that can likely and will certainly by the end of this bull market be able to attest to that, and you guys also having hopefully in the future watched this play out. So that's really it from me, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know your thoughts on staking, good or bad thing for the Algorand network as a whole. Also, let me know your thoughts on the technical analysis we're doing here. Can you see this playing out? Do you see merit in what it is I'm saying? Is there something that you've spotted that I've missed? I want to know your thoughts, comments, and concerns in the comment section. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to love and leave you. If you're not already subscribed, do become one, because we're going to continue to drop Algorand content and see these price predictions come to fruition. See you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.